Hi, my name is Travis Peterson, and I'm the principal trumpet of the Utah Symphony.
And I'm Stephen Bentley, professor of piano collaboration and music education, and also a member of the Boston Crusader brass staff. Today I'm here with Travis, and we're going to play through the Centennial Horizon by McKee. And we picked out a couple of excerpts that we would like to play for you and talk through them with you. Travis is going to talk about the soloist's point of view, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about the piano collaboration point of view. First, I'd like to start off with the setup of the piano. I typically like the lid to always be open, and it doesn't matter what instrument I'm going to accompany. It can always control dynamic, but I also have a full range of dynamic. Having the lid open also allows the piano to articulate clearly the feeling and the touch of the performer.
So this next excerpt that you'll hear us play is from the second movement of the piece called Roaring Gunnison. As the soloist here, I'm sort of really listening to Steve play in his left hand. He's got a lot of notes, a lot of 16th notes that you'll hear. I'm picking up on that for tempo, but once I actually start playing with my 16th notes and kind of longer lines, I'm listening specifically to the bass line or his left hand. So that helps me key into the tempo that he's already set up when I come in, and then it helps us kind of stay together as an ensemble.
Once I finish a brief introduction and then we start collaborating, Travis has a double tonguing passage, and I just have 8 notes. Just really got to make sure that I stay out of the way and keep the sound as transparent as absolutely possible. Once we get further into the excerpt, it's more of a together, a collaborative dynamic, which means that we're both equal in balance. And typically the rule of thumb with piano collaborators is you should always hear the soloist, that no matter what dynamic that might be. Once we get into the excerpt, the piano has this is easy to get kind of labored and bangy on this. You just want to make sure that the left hand is as light as possible as you go through this, to just keep it moving forward and a real transparency to the sound.
So this next section you'll hear us perform, it's difficult for the trumpet because it's a lot of articulation. It's double tonguing. It's this long double tonguing passage. So it's and what's happening in terms of the accompaniment there is he's just kind of playing beats 1 and 3, and we're just trying to line that up. So I have to make sure that as the soloist that I'm really trying to stay as consistent as possible with my tempo, not pulling back or pushing forward, and just right in the pocket.
So with the piano part just has 8 notes going through this. And what you want to make sure to do is stay underneath of the technical material that the soloist is playing and stay as light as possible, just adding the harmonic support through that. By staying just underneath the soloist dynamic, that will provide a very transparent sound to the phrase. Now, when you get into the second phrase, the technical material becomes has a lot more momentum in that, and it's really important that when you have an undergraduate or freshman, oftentimes when you get to a technical moment in the piece, the adrenaline, the performance start getting a hold of them, and they start to want to rush, and then all of a sudden it seems like we're stumbling. So you really want to be that voice of just consistent tempo as you go through that. The last phrase in this is very nice, where we both have the same melody. And as you go through this, it's important that you score study. The piano collaborator must score study what the soloist is doing and vice versa. So one way that I do that is, there's two ways. You can either hum the soloist part, or you can play the piano left hand and play the solo part in the right hand. So I know exactly what the soloist is playing. Now, this was a very simple example, but this makes sure that I play the melody a little bit softer because it's spoken, or it's going to speak clearly, and then I can bring out this great bass part. To really bring some interest to the music right there.
So the very last excerpt that you'll hear us perform today is from the very end of the piece. It's 100% collaboration between the pianist and myself, and it's just full speed ahead. Enjoy.